Well, last year at this time, the United Church of Christ produced these yard signs, which we put out in the front of our church last year. The sign reads, "This year we remember that Jesus was a refugee." And that is the truth. Jesus was a refugee, though I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, especially this time of year. We want to spend the weeks leading up to Christmas thinking about happier things. But the time and place into which Jesus was born was not a happy one. I know we like to think of the Nativity scene as a quaint, pretty little scene, something out of a Disney movie. But that wasn't the case. Jesus was born into a world of great violence and fear and injustice. Mary, his mother, was a poor, dark-skinned teenager who became pregnant out of wedlock. And in desperation and fear from a terror campaign orchestrated by a power-hungry monarch, King Herod, she and Joseph were forced to flee their homeland and to make an arduous journey into a foreign land, a land where people spoke a different language from them and practiced a different religion from them. And after this long and grueling journey, when they finally made it across the border, no one would welcome them. No one would give them assistance. No one would offer them refuge. The baby had to be born in an animal stable. And the baby's bed was a manger, the trough in which animals eat their food. It was dirty and messy and smelly. But that's not the image we want to have of Christmas, is it? We don't want to see that image on our Christmas cards, and we don't want to sing about that in our Christmas carols, do we? No. We want to pretty up the whole thing and put a nice, sparkly bow on it. But the Christmas story isn't a pretty one. Jesus was a refugee, a poor, dark-skinned foreigner who was turned away and refused refuge. How extraordinary, then, that God chose him, of all the people in the world, to become the Prince of Peace. Today, on the second Sunday of Advent, we light the second Advent candle for peace. That's what the people of Jesus' day were hoping the Messiah would bring them: peace. Peace from an oppressive political regime. Peace from repressive religious authorities. Peace from an unjust societal structure which designated who was in and who was out, who was clean and who was unclean. That may have been the way of the world into which Jesus was born, but Jesus came to usher in a new way, the way of the Lord. And that's what today's gospel reading is all about. John the Baptist is crying out in the wilderness, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord." But what is the way of the Lord that we're preparing for? Well, the way of the Lord is the way of peace, love, and justice. That's the way. And Jesus came to show us the way, and he gave us the instructions for following the way. He said, "Welcome the stranger, lift up the lowly, feed the hungry, care for the sick." That's the way of the Lord. That's why John the Baptist is crying out, "Make way for the way of God. Clear away everything that hinders justice.